So there's one more step to this, and unfortunately if you don't do this, the switch is not going to work properly. Hey guys, Aaron here. So in today's video, we're going to go over how to properly wire up a three-way switch with a motion sensor. So there's a couple things to note before we actually get into the install here. The first one is that the three-way switch setup that I have is a little different than your typical three-way switch. It's what's known as the dead-end switch. Now, that's kind of a controversial one, so if you have thoughts on that, let me know in the comment section below. I'd like to hear what everybody's thoughts are. But the idea is that in one box of this three-way switch, you have the switch leg, the traveler, and the hot wire. And then on the other side, you simply just have the traveler wire. And that's the only thing that's connected to the other leg of the switch. So it's a different setup, and the wiring is going to look a little different, but it is correct. I have verified that. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we start taking anything apart, let's head on down to our breaker box. And let's go ahead and get our power shut off. Now, there's a couple good ways, of course, to verify your power's off. Again, you can flip the switch here. It's a good indicator. But along with that, it's also a good idea just to remove your faceplate here. Then take your voltage detector and just verify there's no power going to it. You can use a multimeter as well. So the next thing we want to do is remove the three-way switch that is being replaced by the motion sensor. Now, as I pull this apart, you're going to notice that the white wire is actually set up as one of the travelers versus the neutral wire. Again, that's because it's a modified dead-end three-way switch configuration. Now, in most cases, the wire that's connected to the common screw will actually be black, as it's your hot wire or the wire that the actual power is coming in on. And because in most cases the hot wire is black and one of the travelers is also black, it's a good idea to wrap a piece of electrical tape around the wire that is disconnected from the common screw. Then we're left with our two travelers here and our hot. Now we have a neutral back here as well, which is what we will use for the motion detector. Let's take the hooks out, straighten these out as best I can. All right, so we're going to connect our two travelers to the top connection here and the blue one. So black to black here. Put that around there. Okay. We'll do red to blue here. Next, we can go ahead and connect up our neutral. Now that's the green sleeve here, so we can go ahead and remove the green sleeve. Just add that to your neutrals. And then we got our final black wire here, which is going to be our tagged wire. So basically our hot wire. That's just going to go connected right here. And it's going to be your lower black wire, but not all the way down. It's the lower black wire of the two. So that's the way I understand it to be. We can just wire Wrap that around. Then, of course, last but not least, grab your ground. And connect it up. Maybe easier to pull this out at the beginning. And because this is kind of a small little wire, it kind of helps. You might want to put a cap on it. So there's one more step to this, and unfortunately if you don't do this, the switch is not going to work properly. So we need to go to the other side of our three-way and remove the switch. Now, on here, again, we have our common, which is indicated by our black screw, but because, again, this is a dead-end switch, you'll see this is and there's only a traveler in the box. This is white instead of black, but don't worry about that. The other is we have a traveler here, and we have a traveler here. So what we need to do is we need to take one of our travelers and connect it to our common. Now the question is, which traveler? So if you remember back when we connected up the motion sensor, we connected the red traveler to the blue wire. We want to connect up the traveler that's not connected to the blue wire. So in this case, it's the black traveler. So what I want to do is I want to take this black traveler and connect it up to that common. Now what that's going to let us do is have a constant flow of power through that switch, no matter we have it up or down here. If we don't do this, basically one of these is actually going to be able to shut the light off, and one is going to allow the motion sensor to work. So we want to have that done so that no matter what happens here, that motion sensor will always work.